Saints. They made it to the playoffs last year. They beat the Chicago Bears, and then they kind of just stumbled and stubbed their toe. Typical Drew Brees fashion, right? You can win one game, but you can't win the next one in the playoffs. So Drew Brees has officially retired. Michael Thomas is, who knows what he is. He's starting to sound a lot like Antonio Brown. Alvin Kamara is not a big fan of the 17-game season. So the Saints kind of seem in disarray, but they did sign Taysom Hill to $140 million 3-year deal, which is a lot of fluff, but because it is mainly a lot of incentive based pay there. I think
Yeah, and it's basically 1-year contract at a time.
yeah, and I think he's only guaranteed like $1 million or $2 million, but there's a lot of fluff on there, and then they do have a top 10 quarterback in Combs' eyes as Winston there.
Oh my
So
word!
with that being said, I mean the team is still pretty good. Minus Drew Brees, they're still a pretty good team. So they needed just to add depth to their team, I think, in the draft. So Tori, who is the best draft pickup that they had this year?
I'm going to go with Pete Werner in the second round, the linebacker out of Ohio State. They need linebacker help there. Their defense used to be their sore spot. It's actually been pretty good the last couple of years. This guy's he's a bigger bodied linebacker. He does move side to side real well. He's very fluid. He can do coverage. And he can cover like a safety.
Yeah.
So that is huge in today's NFL. But then he can come up and hit you in the jaw like Ray Nitschke could. So this kid kind of has it all. He tested really well at the combine as well. This kid has the potential to be a Pro Bowl linebacker in about 2 or 3 years, I think.
So yeah, that's kind of a bold statement here, but I have to go with that their first 4 overall picks. Their defense was kind of their weak point this season. They gave up a lot of points toward the end of the season. And Peyton Turner, their first round 28th overall pick, the defensive end out of Houston. We sat here and like we were kind of shocked. They're like, really, this guy? But I went back and watched his tape prepping for the show today, and he is a beast out there. Tori, this Peyton Turner guy is going to be a great NFL player. He is going to be a lot of J.J. Watt. Like they are going to, like his numbers will not reflect of how good he is because they're going to run the other way to try to avoid this guy. I fully anticipate him being a disruptive, basically shutting down half of the field. Just you are not going to run this side because I am a man among men back here. So I'm going to go with Peyton Turner, the 28th overall pick for the from Houston Cougars. So who was your worst pick for the Saints?
So my worst pick for them is pretty much the rest of their draft. I do not like the Peyton Turner pick. They drafted a guy almost the same type as Peyton Turner a couple years ago, Marcus Davenport, and he hasn't really done anything at all. Ian Book they took in the 4th round. That's a terrible pick. I mean,
Facts.
unless is he like the insurance policy to the Taysom Hill insurance policy?
I don't know,
So what are you doing there? Wasn't a big fan of the Landon Young pick. There again, they didn't have a ton of picks in this draft either. They only had, well, they did have a 5th round pick, but they only had 1 pick in each round as well. And Quan Baker, I don't know much about, but
yeah.
they're pretty set at receiver in New Orleans. Like, what are you doing? I don't know. Looking at your draft, you were all over the place. Outside of Pete Werner, because that pick made a ton of sense. I don't know what you're doing because Peyton Turner wasn't going to go in the 1st round.
Right.
Peyton Turner was on nobody's radar for the 1st round, and you took it with the 28th pick. I think I literally said it on the draft show. I don't even know who this guy is.
Yeah.
So maybe you're seeing something on the tape I'm not. I look at it like you played at Houston. Your competition level wasn't that great. Like you said, like JJ played the Big Ten though.
Right. So
JJ played NFLers every week.
Right. So I'm going to use the same argument as I did with Trey Lance. I mean, yes, Trey Lance is an NFL ready player playing a division of a division what FCS now, right? Which is basically a Division 2.
Yeah.
But he was also playing against other Division 2 athletes. So like it wasn't like North Dakota State was riddled with NFL stars, and then they were playing against a Division II team. He had a Division II receiver, a Division II line playing against other Division two guys. But I'm going to descend of what I just said because he is a Division I athlete playing against not very good Division I athletes. So on the defensive side
And
of
most Division I athletes that don't make it Division I, what school do they usually go to at D2?
North Dakota State,
They usually go to North
right?
Dakota State.
Yeah,
So
you are right there.
essentially, North Dakota State has D1 players playing at D2 level.
Right. So fun fact: Kansas State just picked up North Dakota State's coach a couple years ago, and he pretty much brought their whole team down. So fun fact there. But the worst pick for the Saints is definitely Ian Book, man. Just because, first of all, yes, I know Ian Book went to Notre Dame. He led them to the playoffs. He was like 30-5 as a starter, but he's like 5'10". He's like 5'10", 160 pounds, like just ridiculously. He is a Drew Brees-esque quarterback, but you did not need to draft a quarterback. You drafted Colt McCoy, basically. He is an habitual
No,
backup.
Colt McCoy could throw the ball.
But I am talking about just being a habitual backup. He will never be a starter in the NFL. He will be a backup his whole NFL career. He will be floating from team to team to team. Who is the backup quarterback that just signed? That's been on every team and been around forever. He went to Alabama. I think he was number 10. I'm gonna have to look that up now. I'm pretty sure that
it's not Hoyer. It's not Hoyer.
No, it's I'm looking it up right now. They don't have it on there, but yeah, it is a Alabama quarterback that is just you're like wow, he is still
an
really,
Alabama quarterback. AJ McCarron.
AJ McCarron, yep. So he just signed with somebody. I can't remember who it was, but Ian Book is just going to be just like him. So it was definitely not a very good pick by the Saints at all. So Tori, give me their grade.
I give them a D.
Yep.
Their draft wasn't very good. The only thing that kept it from an F is Pete Werner. I really like the Pete Werner pick for them. Again, it was a position of need. It was a position that just got majorly upgraded by a super hyper athletic linebacker.
Yeah. Anytime you can add a athletic linebacker to your team, a linebacker that can run side to side with some speed and with some some football IQ there, that is going to instantly bump your grade draft up one full grade.
Absolutely.
I had them as an F because it was absolutely horrible, but I'd give them a D- because of everything that you said about that linebacker here. So two teams in the NFC South both get a D